So you ever think that like making Pokemon unnecessarily bulky and fat is like a prelude to some sort of kink? Speaking of which, we're bringing AV Kyurem again, and this is week 2 of the JJDL. This is the Wi-Fi division. We are your Boston Red Sky, and I am Brother Yubby, otherwise known as Oopsie Peach, and we're facing off against CJ and his Phoenix Incineroars. Shout out to both Star for recommending a microphone, and shout out to Shattered Backboards for exactly helping me with this team, or at least helping me with the confidence to play this team better, and for helping me realize that I'm an idiot when it comes to Kieran Black. So we're bringing AV again. It's another dedicated lead. This is a team builder. Let me run down their team quickly. They have Iron Valiant Latios, which is disgusting. Paired with Empoleon, I actually had the most issues with, at least mentally, with Empoleon when it came to my prep. So this entire team is kind of built around the idea of, well, I want to break down the Empoleon and try and make it so that it's incredibly pressured to allow for Greninja to basically Ice Beam through the rest. They have Terra base or regular Ogerpon, which can only Terra into a grass type, but it gets a speed boost when it does. Talonflame, Dawnfan, Overquill, Meloetta, and I believe it was Bellybolt and Lycanroc? Maybe? Let me see if I can find out for sure. They made some transactions. Spoiler, their last Pokemon, whatever this is, got dropped. I'm sorry for spoiling my CJ's draft, Yes, it was Lycanroc Midnight. That's exactly what I thought it was. So, this team, it's basically, you ever see an Iron Moth that is built to try to take on an Iron Valiant? Well, this is the one. We got AV Kyurem Black. It is guaranteed to take a hit from a Choice Specs Latios. It guaranteed takes a Draco, and my own Draco takes it out. We're special with Fusion Bolt. Fusion Bolt is for the Empoleon. So I'm kind of, the idea was to not necessarily fake being special, because we are special, but we also 2-hit KO with 16 investment Brave Nature with Fusion Bolt. And we're brave because we don't really need speed. I'm not like, this Kyurem isn't designed to outspeed shit, and the things that it outspeeds, it always outspeeds, even with the Brave Nature. We have Choice Scarf Greninja, which outspeeds a max speed Ogerpon that has Terrad. We are a Colbur Berry Bramblegast, which is basically my switch into Dawnfan. My team struggles hard switching into Dawnfan. So if we're not going Air Balloon or a good Terra for ground on Drill, realistically speaking, Bramblegast is going to be my best switch in, unless I can get kind of creative otherwise. We are a mostly special Tyranitar with knockoff. Knockoff, even with no attack investment, is a guaranteed OHKO into a non-Colbur Latios. And special is just kind of, I think it's nicer, especially because if Kyurem isn't around, or even if Kyurem is around, Tyranitar is my main switch into the Talonflame. And then we are a Sandrush, Terra Fairy, Expert Belt, Excadrill with Protect, Terra Blast, Rock Slide, and Earthquake. Protect is so that if Talonflame still has Gale Wains up and is in the back, to try to come in and maybe revenge kill my Excadrill, because maybe I get a little low, maybe I take a hit or two because I'm not SD, and I can protect, get rid of the Gale Wains because of Sandstorm, and a max attack Jolly Expert Belt Rock Slide. It does a minimum of 100.2% to a max HP, max defense Talonflame. So that's the team. We're going to go and hop into the match. This is also a post-com, so I do apologize. Next week was supposed to be a live com, but come next week, we will both find out that got screwed up. So I'm a dedicated Kyurem lead, and I'm just kind of sitting here. I'm writing down the team, and by writing down the team, I mean I'm forgetting to write down my opponent's team, and you're gonna see that turn one takes a while. That's because I'm like partially writing down their team and making writing down my team too. Everything I do is written down because I prefer to have my computer available for calcs, and that's kind of how it is. I think right now I'm just kind of deciding whether or not I want to switch up my lead and actually lead Greninja. But I don't like lead Greninja just because eh, it's it basically guarantees that I'm clicking U-turn because I don't threaten everything enough. Oh, and we should talk about the team that he brought. It's Overquill, Donphan, Ogerpon, Talonflame, Iron Val, and Latios. So no Empoleon. So my entire game plan of breaking down the Empoleon so that I can just kind of end game with Greninja is thrown out of the water now. So now it's kind of looking more like an end game Excadrill, where I was kind of initially thinking Excadrill would try to break for the Greninja, and try to get T-Tar in early so I can get enough sand turns in for Drill maybe once or even twice. Getting double sand with Drill would be really nice here initially, but now it's kind of not. Now it's kind of an end game scenario where I'm going to keep T-Tar in the back and kind of save it for Drill. So we're a Kyurem lead into the Talonflame lead. And now that there's no Empoleon, I'm never clicking Fusion Bolt. So I'm always just clicking special moves with this. So I don't care if I get burnt. And since we're AV, we tank any hit. Choice Band Brave Bird does a lot, but I like getting rid of Gale Wings on this and making sure that it kind of stays down just in case it's super defensive for my drill. Because right now, this is the only thing that's kind of, I can't say it's the only thing standing in the way of drill, but like outside of Donphan, it's the only thing standing in the way of drill. And any damage on Donphan is permanent unless it's a rest set, which I'm not expecting here. So, yeah, so we're just kind of leaning into Click and Ice Beam. And give me a second, I'm going to cough. All right, we're back. How's it going? So yeah, they just click Willow here, and clicking Willow is, I mean, I expected it. I didn't expect it exactly on turn one. It makes sense to a Kyurem, just because Kyurem has a base 170 attack stat or something insane like that. It's either 160 or 170. I think it's 170. Whatever, it's insane. So, but still has a base 120 special attack. I also click Earth Power just like way too quick here, when in reality I probably should have just clicked Draco. But here I'm expecting a roost. I think that it's either a roost or a switch out. If you switch out, it's going to be into the Overquill because nothing wants to take an Ice Beam other than this and the Overquill. And clicking Earth Power into the Overquill or a roosted Talonflame is exactly what I need. So truthfully, I probably clicked the move a little quick, but we ball. I think looking back on it even now, I think it was the right play. Turns out this Talonflame doesn't roost. I'm gonna spoil the next like 15 seconds for you. I also probably should have put this on like 1.25 speed, so I'm not just like talking aimlessly in between turns because I do take my time. Because a lot of times I'm running calcs. I've played on Showdown pretty much entirely up to this point, and me and the calcs are my babies. I love me some calcs, some mid game calcs, just kind of making sure I know the opponent's Pokemon set as I'm killing it. So here we see that the Earth Power does nothing, and I'm already over predicting. I still stand by that it was the right play. You cannot tell me otherwise. If you believe otherwise, please feel free to tell me why below. And if your answer isn't just click Draco, then I'm sorry, you're wrong too. Maybe we're both wrong. Maybe I should have prepped better. Maybe that was like a skill shot turn and I didn't know it. But now our KB is down under half, but it's already taken a kill. Like, trading 1-for-1 with Kyurem isn't the best thing, but it's fine. We took out the Talonflame. The Talonflame was annoying for a drill, and nothing wants to come in on Greninja other than like a Spadef Overquill now. And Greninja's now looking really strong. We're gonna jump ahead mentally a little here. I don't get Greninja in very often, and I probably should have gotten it in more often just because it applies a lot of pressure. And this is just me looking back in hindsight and trying to get better. And getting in Greninja earlier and using Greninja as a breaker for an end game drill and swapping the roles was probably something I should have thought of in here. And instead, I play slightly. I don't play passively, but like passively enough to where I don't just like start getting drill in when I really should have. Here goes Val, and I'm like, all right, cool. What the heck do I do? So it doesn't show booster, which is huge because that means that I don't have to worry about late game booster. But we go off. So now booster speed into SD is not something I'm worried about. And I don't think you fit both SD and agility on this set. And this Iron Moth is built to take a +2 close combat from a max attack Val. So it's set up in agility though. So right now I know that there's 0 moves that this thing can go for that will kill me. Because Liquidation and Zen Headbutt both never kill me if it's Life Orb. That's what I'm calculating right now, by the way. I'm just like making sure. I know that I take a +2 CC, so I know that a Life Orbed Liquidation or Zen Headbutt also won't kill me. And like anything on the special side, like if this is a special Val, which I actually thought special Val had an amazing matchup here, but this Moth could end up taking out both. Liquidation does come out and we tank. Fizz Def Iron Moth does its job and takes out the Val. And now what's going to end up happening is I want to keep my Val around, not my Val, my Moth around just in order to make sure the T-spikes don't go up, because I don't want T-spikes going up in the face of, well, everything, because I haven't run boots. I think I've run like 1 boots so far in 2 weeks, and it was on, no, I ran two. They were both week 1. Bramble and Moth both ran boots. Also, we're bringing the same 6 Pokemon to this match as we did week 1. Don't expect that to be the same week in, week out. It just so happens to be what happened. They were just the 6 best Mons. I had a lot of trouble picking my Pokemon for this match. I really liked, I'd say 9 of my 10 Pokemon. The only thing I didn't like was Alcremie. Alcremie is so bad. It's so bad. I only recently learned that it gets Dazzling Gleam, so it kind of gets a stab move, but like it's still bad. Ogerpon ends up coming in, and so they got a defense drop with Liquidation, no defense drop from Liquidation, and Terra, Grass, Ivy Cudgel doesn't take me out, but right now I'm pretty sure it does take me out. But no matter what, like it's not clicking. It could click Knockoff. Knockoff would be like a super good play, I think. But I am Cobra on my Bramble. And right now, I want to keep Moth around in order to protect against toxic spikes later. And then, so basically my play is Bramble. This Bramble set is Spikes 3 attacks with Spin and Shadow Sneak. Shadow Sneak into Scarf Gren can help take out a late game Latios if it ends up being like DD or something dirty. Because right now, like T-Tar is a good check to it, but since it probably has Aura Sphere, I don't necessarily want to force T-Tar to come in and just take Aura Spheres, because Aura Sphere is pretty free into this group that I brought, especially pre-Terra Excadrill. It's super effective on 4 of the 6. Granted, the other 2 like tank Aura Spheres, but I don't want to. But we do see that it goes for Stomping, so I'm glad we went into Bramble. Bramble can tank that all day. If I had Strength Zap here, I probably still wouldn't go for it. It'd be a harder play for me. It'd be a harder click. But since when Ogerpon Terra's
it loses Defiant and gains Embody Aspect. I could, in fact, Strength Sap this, but the reason I didn't Bryn it is because in the event of the Ogerpon not Terra-ing right away, I didn't want it to be able to like freely switch in on, say I try to Strength Sap the Dawn Fan and the Ogerpon comes in pre-terra'd, then it's like it's +1/+1 and a problem. So here I'm between Power Whip and Spikes. Power Whip is my most damage into this and kind of hits everything. I quote unquote hits everything. Really doesn't hit everything. It actually hits less things than everything. But we end up going for Spikes, and I really I stand by the Spikes play. We get the Spikes up, it starts accumulating chip on everything that's non boots. Also, a little after the fact, we saw Life Orb on the Ogerpon, so we know that it's not boots, and we know that it's not Scarf. So we know that Greninja outspeeds it always, and we know that Excadrill, when Sand is up, will always outspeed it. So now that Overquill is in, I'm predicting here either a Spike, a T-Spike, or a Toxic. Toxic is good into if he thinks I'm staying in with Bramble. But Spike and T-Spike are both really good if he's expecting any sort of switch out. So I think what covered all the options was really Kyurem, because Kyurem is burnt, won't be toxic, and then is fine. Like if a T-Spike or Spike go up, we can take care of those later with Bramble, because Bramble still has a lot of health left, can come in on the Ogerpon, can come in on the Donphan and get a spin. And we end up catching the Toxic with the Kyurem. Here, I will say, we misplay again. Ice Beam is super free. And you see me checking the teams here. Like, Ice Beam is super free, and I don't know why I don't click it. Earth Power is also free. Like, those are the two free moves. We don't need to click Draco. But here, I'm basically saying, I'm thinking that I want the chip damage if Overquill stays in. I want as much chip damage on it as possible for an end game Greninja, because I still have end game Greninja in my head. But like, just click Ice Beam, bro. Why are you not clicking Ice Beam? Ice Beam is super effective on everything except for this. And well, it's not super effective against Val, but like, actually no, Val's gone. I don't know what the other thing is left. But like, just click Ice Beam. We didn't click Ice Beam. We clicked Draco. And now it's like, well, now we're at -2 special attack. A Spike just went up. We're not switching out. And now Kyurem's just staying in to die. Let's click Earth Power. We actually burn a Shuka, which is awesome for Drill. And I think this is where I kind of decide, hey, Drill endgame is possible too. Just because like I saw the Shuka and I just was like, well, that may have been his last opportunity to be able to stop Drill. Outside of, the max HP, the full health. There we go. The full health Donphan that's in the back. But basically now, Earthquakes become free from Drill. And I say that because Drill always tanks a hit from Latios. And if Latios comes in on an Earthquake, like, amazing play. But we're Terra Fairy. We tank a hit from, well, everything. I'm pretty sure we take a hit from a Life Orb Ogerpon. No promises. Truthfully, if Ogerpon came in, it's just kind of a nice chip, especially with the Spike up. So I think Earthquake is still like a super free click. And yeah, I decide not to Terra here, and that's because it's a solid question as to why I didn't Terra. I didn't Terra because of this, actually. I didn't know what... I assumed from the Draco damage, Draco damage plus Earth Power damage plus being Shuka, that it did not outspeed my Drill, because I'm a super fast Drill. But I didn't want to risk that, and in the event of it having a poison move and predicts my Terra and outspeeds me,
Could it have outsped me? If it was max speed, it could have, but I doubt it was max speed. Donphan comes in, takes a spike. Spike's, doing its job. And like I said before, this is just free Bramble. It could knock off or ice spinner here would be a really good play. But we end up catching an earthquake on the switch, and this is just now free spin because I want the spike gone. Just because, not because it's like super annoying, but it's annoying enough, and I'd prefer my drill to be able to tank some hits. Just because, well, I can't tell you exactly why I spun here. Because Power Whip is also a good play. And I say that knowing that Power Whip just kind of doesn't hit either of the two in the back. Also, Joe picks up another kill. But, we spin. We just don't like hazards here. I think this is 2 weeks in a row. The moment that a hazard has gone up, not the moment, but like damn close to a hazard going up, we're like, I don't want that. Let me get rid of that. That crit's actually pretty big. It may not seem it because like it's coming off of a Bramblegast rapid spin, but it puts it in range of a Greninja Ice Beam after rocks. So if I can get rocks up, then the Latios comes in and can't take an Ice Beam from my Scarf Gren anymore. So now Latios is in, and basically, I think so. I have a couple. I think I'm in the driver's seat here. My opponent needs to make a play in order to get back into the game. Just because I still have max HP Gren, basically max HP Drill with Sand still available. I think my opponent has to make a play here. I think they're clicking Aura Sphere, and I want to still have the option of getting T-Tar in twice, and T-Tar doesn't want to take a, like, 2. I could, in theory, like, go T-Tar, then hard out into Moth, and then that gets Drill in, and maybe that was the proper sequence. But here, I just sack off Moth. Yeah, I do think it was kind of the wrong play sacking off Moth here, but I didn't know what this Latios was yet. Now that it's shown Shadow Ball, and albeit, like, I'm not going to say a weak Shadow Ball, but, like, a pretty weak Shadow Ball. I know it's not Specs, and Specs or Sphere into T-Tar could have done a lot, and I wasn't playing around with that. Here, maybe a double into T-Tar would have been nice, but at the same time, Aura Sphere takes out my Moth at this range, and I don't want to just kind of like take all this unnecessary damage on T-Tar for no reason. And he clicks Luster Purge, and I think those are two bold clicks into like a T-Tar. I thought T-Tar was like an obvious switch, so I thought that they may have gone for the prediction with Aura Sphere, but now we just get T-Tar coming in, and this is I wanted the free switch into T-Tar anyway, so I'm happy. I appreciate him just taking out my Moth and not taking advantage of it. T-Tar pretty much always took a hit, but this is now just a free knockoff. Knockoff on everything was just really nice because it got rid of the item on Donphan and got chip damage on Donphan, and we're kind of cool. We're good now. So, want to see me screw up some more? So, Ice Beam is probably a kill, but I don't click it. Why don't I click it? Because I want rocks. I want rocks because right now I am identifying Greninja as right now, genuinely in the match, I say, hey, Greninja just wins. Let me sack off Tyranitar for no reason. And try to like piss away a clean end game and go for a choppier end game now. EQ comes out, does a ton. We do still live, so we have another chance to switch out. we can switch out. We can go into Bramble. We can keep Tyranitar around for an end game Excadrill. And in my head, I'm just like, well, Excadrill doesn't OHKO the Ogerpon anyway. But like, all we need is Chip. That's all we need. An end game here is very clean if we go Bramble and just kind of let Bramble do his thing into the Donphan. But no, we click knockoff again. Ice Beam still probably would have killed. We let this thing rapid spin, killing our sand turns, which amazing. Like, I don't know if he was planning, like that was his idea, was killing sand turns here. Sand turns as well as getting rid of my hazards, which still in this moment I just forgot. And I just sack off T-Tar. And I'm just thinking, all right, Latios is gonna come in. It's gonna take Stealth Rocks, which spoiler, it doesn't because Rapid Spin. And I'm just like, all right, Gren just wins right now because Gren clicks Ice Beam. Scarf Ice Beam wins. It doesn't. Latios tanks a hit. I don't think Ogerpon does. It's close. It's probably close. But I just kind of forget. But Ice Beam, let's give me a little bit of credit here. Ice Beam is a free click. Ice Beam picks up a kill right now. So I do get at least one by getting Gren in. But we could have gotten Gren in anyway. Gren could have come in on an Earthquake. Gren took one. It didn't. Like, I could have just played aggressive. And like, because I don't need health on Greninja. Didn't need it. Greninja just comes in and clicks Ice Beam. Doesn't need health. I don't know why I was so hell-bent on sacking off Tyranitar. And that is on me. And truthfully, that one sand turn that he spent clicking Rapid Spin does end up coming back and like biting me in the butt. Because now we don't have a lot of sand turns. And now like, if the right play on his end is to go Latios, because Latios lives a Scarf Ice Beam. Ogerpon doesn't live a Scarf Ice Beam and doesn't outspeed me. He makes the right play and he goes Latios. And this is when I realize, oops, he got rid of my hazards. And I have to just make a play. Here I just hover over Drill because I'm deciding whether or not sacking off Bramblegast and getting a free switch into Drill is better than going hard Drill. Because right now I'm still predicting Aurasphere, but Drill takes an Aurasphere from this range because we know it's not specs. So it takes a Scarf Aurasphere, and it ends up going for Draco and does a chunk. But now that Drill is in, Terra Fairy, Terra Blast is a free click. It doesn't necessarily pick up a kill into an Ogerpon switch, but it 2-hit KOs. And we have exactly 2 turns of sand left. So we're kind of playing around with a Latios endgame, which is scary, but we'll see how it goes. Because he does end up making the switch to Ogerpon. Not switching into Ogerpon still would have given me the chip damage that I needed for Greninja to come in. And since we know it's Life Orb, we know it's not Scarf, and Greninja always outspeeds it. But here Terra Fairy, Terra Blast. Should be a 2-hit KO unless he's really bulky, which unless my boy CJ also has this fat kink that I got going on with my Pokemon, I don't think it lives 2, and it doesn't. It doesn't. It actually did more than I expected, if I'm going to be completely honest. I just kind of clicked the button. And now another one's just kind of free click. And then we're 3 mons into a Latios, where if Latios clicks Calm Mind or Dragon Dance or any setup move, we are always staying in and clicking Terra Blast. If Latios clicks Luster Purge, we are always going hard Greninja. Hard Greninja clicks Ice Beam, and if Ice Beam doesn't kill and Greninja goes down to an Aurasphere, then we have Bramblegast, Shadow Sneak, and it is a minimum of a 1-0.
what really should have been a, cleaner end game ended up being a little scary, but Drill just actually takes a Shadow Ball. I don't know if Luster Purge probably killed, so that was kind of rough for the differential points, but I do think we had at least a 1-0 in the bag, and it ends up being a 3-0. And good game to CJ. I don't think he expected my fat kink. And how about y'all join me? Go also go follow him down below. Go subscribe to him. He's making more progress in doing. He's doing a much better job with quality and just production in this league than I am. So please go give him a subscribe and check out his side because he actually deserves it, as opposed to me. So go ahead and do that. Join me in this escapade of our own kinks. And thanks for joining me. And on to week 3.